After Romeo. Welcome back, YouTubers, to my channel on the Everyday Life of an Aspie. Today I'm going to be bringing out some other topics right now, just to give myself a breather from the autism end series right now. And this one is basically going to be all about emotional detachment, hopefully, in this series. And if you need any of these, hopefully some of this will be of value to you. And I welcome you newbies who are on my channel today. Hopefully you'll find what you're looking for in the answers, or something in between of fun, entertainment, or whatever reason it may be. I'm Aspie. I'm all about creating mental health and awareness and sharing my life stories, as well as just having a bit of fun along the way, as if you haven't seen some prior earlier in the piece. So let's begin. This one's the first part of the emotional detachment series. This one's going to be how to be emotionally detached. I'm going to cover briefly about what it is, basically the definition of it is, and the methods along the way, and the negative effects of the detaching when you don't decide to detach and let go, he say. So let's begin this. As we know in psychology, emotional detachment can mean two different things here. In the first meaning, it refers to an inability to connect with others emotionally, as well as the means of dealing with anxiety by preventing certain situations that triggers it. It is often described as emotional numbing as another term, or dissociation, depersonalization, or in its chronic form, depersonalization disorder. In the second sense of the word of this term, it could mean it's a type of mental assertiveness that allows people to maintain their boundaries and psychic integrity when faced with the emotional demands of another person or group of persons. Now let's know more about emotional attachment. As we know, basically, emotional detachment is a natural mental response to a flight or fright response, maybe due to a prolonged physical and mental abuse that you went through, like victims that has been abused, or war veterans, or those who has been suffering from PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder. Detachment can become a big issue when trying to recapture the feelings of the love and warmth, and often leaves them cold, numb, unemotional for the rest of their life. They won't tend to show their feelings towards their loved one, even if they're in a relationship. If you're interested in becoming detached for the sake of preventing yourself from any further mental assault or mental harm, I'm hoping for this video will be of help to you on how to do so. It's ill-advised to become detached based on an image or personality you want to achieve, because it will present problems to you in later life. Again, before I begin to continue this, as a disclaimer, I'm no medical doctor, I'm just a normal everyday Joe blog. So if you see any warning signs and symptoms to what I'm sharing, either in this video or previous videos, do seek professional help for yourself or loved one, or medical advice for yourself and loved one, because I don't forever condone self-harm. I just wish for you guys to be happy and safe. So the question you may be asking to me is, what's detachment? Detachment can mean a lot of things for different people, but these are the ones that I'm going to read out to you today. Detachment is the ability to allow people, places, or things the freedom to be themselves. 2. Holding back from the need to rescue, save, or fix another person from being sick, dysfunctional, or irrational. 3. Giving another person the space to be themselves. 4. Disengaging from an over-enmeshed or dependent relationship with people. 5. Willingness to accept that you can't control or change someone or something, or even a place. 6. Developing and maintaining of a self-emotional distance from someone whom you've previously given a lot of power to affect your emotional outlook on life. 7. Establishing of emotional boundaries between you and those people you've become overly enmeshed or dependent on, in order that all of you might be able to develop your own sense of autonomy and independence. 9. Processes by which that you are free to feel your own feelings when you see another person falter and fail, and not be led by guilt to feel responsible to their failure or faltering. 10. Ability to maintain an emotional bond of love, concern, and caring without the negative results of rescuing, enabling, fixing, or controlling. 10, I should say. Placing of all things in life into a healthy, rational perspective and recognizing that there's no need to back away from any uncontrollable or unchangeable realities of life. 13. Ability to exercise emotional self-protection and prevention so as not to experience greater emotional devastation from having hung on beyond a reasonable and rational point. 14. Ability to let people you love and care for accept personal responsibility for their own actions and to practice tough love and not give in when they come to you to bail them out when their actions lead to failure or trouble for them. 15. Ability to allow people to be who they really are rather than who you want them to be. 15. Ability to avoid being hurt, being taken advantage of by people who in the past have been overly dependent or enmeshed with you. So, you may be questioning what are the negative effects of detaching. If you're unable to detach from the people, places, or things, then you, 1, will have people, places, things become over-dependent on you. 2, run the risk of being manipulated to do things for people, places, or with things which you do not really want to do. 3, can become an obsessive fixer who needs to fix everything you perceive to be imperfect. 4, run the risk of performing tasks because of the intimidation you experience from people, places, or things. 5, will most probably become powerless in the face of the demands of the people, places, things whom you've given the power to control you. 6, will be blinded to the reality that people, places, or things which control you are uncontrollable or unchangeable, so you need to let go of if you are to become a fully healthy, coping individual. 6, will be easily influenced by the perception of helplessness which these people, places, or things will project on you. 8, might become caught up in your idealistic need to make everything perfect for people, places, things important to you, even if it means your own life becomes unhealthy and you put yourself on the back burner. 9, run the risk of becoming out of control of yourself and experiences greater low self-esteem as a result of this. Will most probably put off making a decision and following through on it if you rationally recognise that your relationship with the person, place, or thing isn't healthy and the only recourse left is to get out of the relationship. Will be so driven by guilt and emotional dependence that the sickness in the relationship will worsen. Run the risk of losing your autonomy and independence and derive your value or worth solely from the unhealthy relationship you continue to be in with the unhealthy person, place, or thing. Another question you may be asking is, how is detachment a control issue? Detachment can be a control issue because 1, it's a way of depowering the external focus of control issues in your own life, and it's a way to strengthen your internal focus of control. 2, if you aren't able to detach emotionally or physically from that person, place, or thing, then you're either profoundly under its control or it's under your control. 3, the ability to keep your distance emotionally or physically requires self-control, and the inability to do so is a sign that you're out of control. 4, if you aren't able to detach from another person, place, or thing, you might be powerless if this behaviour which is beyond your personal control. 5, you might be mesmerised, brainwashed, or physically in a trance when you're under the presence of someone from whom you cannot detach. 8, you might feel intimidated or coerced to stay deeply attached with someone of fear of great harm to yourself or that person if you don't remain so deeply involved. 9, you might be an addicted caretaker, fixer, or rescuer who can't let go of a person, place, or thing you believe can't care for itself. You might be so manipulated by another's con, helplessness, over-dependency, or hooks that you can't leave them to solve their own problems. If you don't detach from people, places, or things, you could be so busy to control them that you completely divert your attention from yourself and your own needs. By being selfless and centered on other people, you are really a controller trying to fix them to meet the image of your ideal for them. Although you still have feelings for the person, place, or things from which you have become detached, you will have given them the freedom to become what they will be on their own merit, power, control, and responsibility. It allows every person, place, or thing with which becomes involved to feel the sense of personal responsibility to become a unique, independent, and autonomous being with no fear of retribution or rebuke if they don't seem to please what they become. As you know, sometimes it's healthy to detach from emotional pain, grief, or what have you. If it's too intense or overwhelming in that given moment, it could be dangerous, could be leading you to self-harm yourself or using a dangerous drug. if the timing isn't right, if you're at school or work or in an unsafe environment, or if you do feel if you don't feel comfortable expressing your emotions in your current situation, for example, you're around certain individuals that you don't trust to share your feelings with, in order to healthily detach from your strong emotions, you may benefit from learning to cope with the difficult emotions, paying attention to yourself and your own needs, and practicing techniques to self-fully emotionally detach. So this is what I'm hoping to do in the next few over for the tips of a health aspect of your methods on how to go about it. Method 1, coping with feelings, is the first method. 1. Explore the reasons for your strong emotional reactions. In order to better detach yourself from any given situation or a place or a person you're with, be sure to be aware of the reasons for your strong reactions to that. 3 reasons why you may be feeling emotional are: 1. You are being highly sensitive. 2. The situation is triggering a painful past event that you've been in. 3. You're feeling a loss of control over the situation, which can provoke a lot of anger and frustration. 2. Know the difference between healthy and unhealthy detachment. It's natural and normal to want to emotionally detach sometimes, especially if the emotion is too painful or overwhelming to deal with at the current time. However, extreme emotional detachment from others is associated with psychopathy, where individuals commit crimes against others without any remorse or guilt or any other feelings. Extreme emotional dissociation can also be the result of experiencing trauma. If you want to detach, sometimes due to the intense emotions, that's perfectly healthy and okay. We may not always be in the place to cope with these strong emotions. However, if you find yourself isolating from others constantly, or being emotionally numb, not feeling any emotions at all, you could suffer from a larger psychological concern. Some signs you may need therapy or treatment include social isolation, avoidance of certain social activities that you used to do with your family and friends, intense fear of rejection, recurrent depressed or anxious mood, difficulty completing work in school or any occupational duties, and frequent social conflicts or physical fights with other people around you. 3. Accept your emotional state. Paradoxically, if we accept our emotions as valid and normal, we can better ourselves at detaching from when we need a break. Oftentimes though, however, we may often want to push our emotions away because they don't feel good. However, these emotions give us valuable information about our situation and our perceptions similar to physical pain. Negative feelings, fear, anger, sadness, anxiety, stress are like our brain's way of alerting us that there is a problem. The next time you may feel emotions such as anger, think to yourself something like this: I am angry because. This anger gives me good information about how I am reacting to this situation and will help me to decide how I should deal with it. It's okay to feel angry. The anger itself is not the issue. It is what you do with the anger you may feel. You can choose to ignore it and stuff it down in the bottom of your chest, but this could end up making it come back even more powerful the next time. If you accept your emotion and find out how the way of coping it, then it loses its power over you and you can healthily detach from it when you need to. In the moment, try shifting focus as well as deep breathing to activate the body's calming response. The first thing is cognitive process associated with decreased anxiety. The second is the physical action one to initiate the body's calming response. You can also cope by taking a nap, doing an art project, taking a walk, getting a massage, hanging out with a pet, etc., etc. Do something that will, calm yourself down and maybe distract you from that given moment when you were angry or whatever feeling that triggered you. 4. Express your feelings in a safe place. Giving yourself the space to feel your emotions in a safe way is an integral and important part to being able to detach when you need to. Set a time each day to feel your feelings. 5. Practice crying alone. You may think this is stupid, but it is okay. Crying in front of the one who is harassing you will only prevent them to taunt you more or continue with their harassment. Breathing deeply and thinking of something other than the situation may prevent you from fully processing the situation and ultimately prevent you from crying. However, it's not healthy to keep that sadness in though. However, try your best to wait until the situation has ended and for the antagonist to leave the room before you begin to cry, or just find a private space and do it yourself with maybe watching some sad emotions, movies. 6. Write down your feelings and thoughts. Just as it is unhealthy to keep you from crying, another one is unhealthy to keep your anger, confusion, other negative emotions intact or inside of you. Putting those feelings and thoughts onto paper or on the computer can help you process and deal with difficult emotions so that you can detach when you feel the need. 7. Write down how you feel in a secret journal diary. To avoid ruminating on your negative thoughts, try identifying any of the alternative ways of thinking about or looking for a solution. For example, if your negative thought is, this person is such a total jerk, perhaps you can also write down, however, this individual may have had a difficult life and is being this way to cope with their angness or seeing this. A little empathy can go a long way in helping others to cope, or help you to cope with difficult people and difficult situations. 2. Distract yourself. 8. Distract yourself, I should say. Think about or do something else. Do not simply ignore the feeling or situation, however. If you try to stop thinking about something, you may just end up thinking about it more. This is called the white bear phenomenon, where subjects and research has studied were told not to think about a white bear, and of course that's all they could think about. Instead of focusing on avoiding thinking about what's making you upset, try to think about something else instead. Try some distracting activities that you enjoy, like gardening, playing a game, playing on a guitar, watching a movie, painting, drawing, etc., etc. 9. Take action personally. Go for a walk, bike ride, or any other cardiovascular activity. Aerobic activity is proven to boost endorphins and will help you to be in a better position to change and monitor your reactions to these emotional predators that comes in. Exercise can also be a great for distracting or grounding technique. So the physical activities you can consider are hiking, rowing, gardening, cleaning, jumping rope, kickboxing, Pilates, Zumba push-ups, etc., etc. Anything that keeps your heart pumping, sort of thinking, makes you physically fit. Method 2, focusing on your own self. 1. Self-reflect. One way to healthily detach is to focus on observing yourself like an outsider, looking in from an objective stance. This is sometimes called the third eye view, where you have an additional vision of yourself from the outside. When you're alone, simply observe how you're feeling and thinking. Ask yourself, how am I doing today? What am I really thinking about? You can also work on observing yourself in everyday social situations. Pay attention to what you say, do, how you act, how you feel, and what emotions you will likely to express. 2. Validate yourself. Self-validation is an important component of learning how to distance yourself emotionally. Validation means confirming that how you're thinking or feeling is pretty much reasonable. You can use positive self-talk. Say to yourself, for example, it's okay and natural to feel how I'm feeling right now. Even if I don't want to show it, I'm allowed to feel this way. 3. Set emotional boundaries. Setting emotional boundaries is about putting your needs first before anyone else by setting limits on what you can and can't do and what you can tolerate from others. If you can, disengage from individuals who irritate or upset you, such as particular co-workers or neighbours. Try setting boundaries by telling individuals directly how you feel and what you'd like them to do. For example, if your brother teases you, you could say, I feel angry when you tease me like that. I would appreciate it if you please stop. It may be also helpful to identify the consequences of breaking this boundary, such as, if you don't stop, I might not want to continue to be around you. Here you calmly discuss your anger without the need for blowing up, like a ticking time bomb. Method 3. Using techniques to detach. Number 1. Use your wise mind. According to dialectical behavioural therapy, or DBT, a prominent therapy modality that helps teach individuals distress tolerance, we have an emotional mind and a rational mind. Our wise mind is a mix of both emotions and rational thought. The key to detaching or distancing yourself from an emotional pain for a period of time is to use your wise mind, the perfect balance between the logical part and emotional part of your brain. Instead of only reacting emotionally, attempt to think rationally about the situation. Acknowledge your feelings by saying emotions are natural. Even strong emotions will eventually pass. I can work out why I had a such strong reaction after I get myself calm. Ask yourself, is this going to matter in 1 to 5 years time or longer? How much does this really affect my life? Ask yourself another question. If your thought is fact or fiction, what is actually the bigger picture? 2. Maintain emotional distance through mindfulness. Creating emotional distance is useful if you need to be empathetic towards someone, but don't want to be overwhelmed or overly affected by the emotions. Mindfulness can be a useful technique in achieving a level of empathy that includes a level of distance that reduces the possibility of being flooded by the other person's emotion. Try eating a piece of food mindfully. Raisin, candy, apple, etc. First focus on what it looks like, the colour, the shape, then notice how it feels in your hands, the texture and temperature. Finally, eat a small piece of the food slowly and notice how it tastes and feels when you're eating. Pay close attention to this experience. Going for a mindful walk. Try walking for 20 minutes or so. Simply focus on your walking and what's going on around you. How does the air feel? Is it hot, cold, windy, calm? What sounds do you hear? Are there any birds chirping, people talking, or car alarms going off? How does it feel to move in your body? What do you see? Are there trees swaying in the wind or animals moving about. Bring your focus back to the present moment instead of being caught up in your thoughts and feelings of personal other reactions. Mindfulness requires concentration on the present moment, awareness of your own reactions, acceptance, and letting go of the painful thoughts, emotions, thinking of these thoughts and ideas instead of the truth. 3. Take a deep breath. If you're stressed out, I suggest it's your body naturally tensing up and sending your thoughts racing 90 miles a minute. Breathe deep and slow to avoid a lack of oxygen that can add to the problem. Place yourself in a comfortable position and practice your deep breathing techniques, as I've very clearly shared in so many videos before. Deeply in through your nose and out through your mouth. Focus deeply on your breathing and how it feels throughout your body to inhale and exhale. Make sure you're breathing from your diaphragm. This would mean that you should feel your stomach move fully in and out as you breathe. It should feel like you're filling up in a balloon and releasing it every time you breathe. Do this at least for 5 minutes. 4. Use grounding exercises. Grounding is perfect for emotional detachment because it involves techniques specifically for distancing yourself from the emotional pain or trauma that you've been in. Try the following grounding techniques. Count to 100 in your head, count imagery in the street, count the number of things in your room, think of the names of all the United States, or name all the colours you can think of, etc. Try anything logical and unemotional that will take your mind off the situation that you're in the present. Last but not least, 4. Keep up the effort. Eventually your mind will learn to store things away and you'll go into thinking of logical and emotional things naturally. The more you practice, the more you better will be at detaching from your emotional or painful emotions, shall we say. Well, this ends basically the first part of the emotional detachment series. Give me a like for thumbs up for support. Comment below if I've missed out anything, or feel free to comment below to what you do to emotionally detach yourself. Feel free to share these videos around to family friends. If you haven't done so already and you would like to be part of my YouTube family, feel free to subscribe to me, as well as while you're down there on the bottom right hand screen of the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you can be up to date with what I get up to in my everyday living of what I do and whatnot. So enough for the day, guys. Thanks for the support. Don't forget to follow me on my social media sites listed in the description if you feel the need or have to. If you also feel the need or have to, also to private message me if you have any problems or just want to rave or have a question, feel free to private message me on my social media of AspieAnswers on Facebook, and I'll do the best and utmost I can.